Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over my minimalist camera setup. I'm actually finishing up a video about my whole camera collection, which would be a lot of shameful purchases. But I made a couple pickups that I feel like are pretty cool, and if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, you can follow me right here. I shared some of those pickups and gonna show you the entire collection right now. So when I say that the setup is very minimal, I mean it. It's extremely minimal. There are a lot of YouTubers out there who do their what's in my camera bag or what's in my street photography bag, and like this, it's a lot of stuff. And personally speaking, I don't really like to have a bag around me. Most of the times, if I could stuff everything in my pockets, that would be optimal. So starting off with the most important part of any camera setup is the camera itself, and I use the Leica M10D for my street photography, and this is that very expensive camera that does not have an LCD screen. This is a digital camera, 24 megapixels, full frame sensor, no screen. I did review the Leica M10D and you can check it out right here in this little annotation. And don't get me wrong, I love using my film cameras, but usually it entails that I have to carry about 3 rolls of film with me, and it does end up taking a little bit more space in my pocket, so running a digital camera eliminates that need for the little jiggling film rolls in my pocket. And sometimes it's nice to know that after a long session I can go home and edit them right away. Film photographers are all about a slower process, but when it comes to getting the films scanned and getting it back, they have no patience for it. The film community loves getting the scans back as fast as possible, so the whole slowing down part doesn't really apply to that. If you do want to buy the Leica M10D, it's actually really hard because 1, it's discontinued, 2, there's only 2,000 units out there in the world, and 3, after the video review that I made a couple months back, I've been noticing that in the forums and the Facebook groups that I'm a part of, that everybody's just searching for it right now. It's high in demand, but the supply is low, so sorry about that. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that the lens on this camera is the Voigtlander 28mm Ultron. The version 2 is spherical one. It's very tiny, very sharp, and I love using this. I don't really carry other lenses with me because having only one option makes me work around that instead of always thinking of other options that could distract me from just composing or getting closer to my subject. So of course with my camera, I am running a strap on it. I'm not freehanding it like this. I have this wrist strap right here by, I think, Vivante, and it's a very minimal setup. There's nothing dangling, nothing getting in your face. And of course you might be thinking like, oh my god, he uses a wrist strap. I hardly know anybody who uses wrist straps, but the reason why I like this is because the regular neck straps that I use, I end up tying it around my wrist anyways to, of course, secure my camera in my hand so that nobody like comes up and takes it from me, and to reduce the danglingness of a long neck strap. But seriously, like, I'm never going to just like let this hang around my neck. I'm always having this in my hand so that I'm ready to photograph a scene. And you might be wondering like, oh, what if you're done shooting? Well, honestly, I just throw this in my jacket pocket and I'm good to go. I just walk or take the train back home and that's it. The next piece of equipment that I've been incorporating in my street photography is a flash. I kind of encourage all of you to try out flash photography on film or on digital, whether it's at your friend's birthday party or out there on the streets. Having a flash is great for those low light situations or filling in the shadows in very backlit type settings. So this flash is the Leica SF20. It's a very affordable flash to get. Very simple. There's just an on button right here. It'll even tell you a distance scale based on the power and the aperture and the ISO of your film or your camera. Because with other flash units, you don't know how your images are going to be affected by this new source of light. So having this distance scale is so awesome to take out the question of how far can I go with this flash or how powerful will it be. It'll tell you right on this little screen right here. So of course you can mount this flash right onto the camera and just do some onboard flash photos, but I typically don't like to do that because this setup makes it a little bit too big and it attracts too much attention. So what I do is a remote off-camera flash setup. So this is probably like the coolest thing that I picked up recently, and I'm really excited to show you what it is. So this thing is called the Flash Q, and it's this tiny little cube you see right here. Hopefully it's focused, and you just mount this on your camera, and you have another little cube that you mount on your flash, and now it's remote controlled and it'll wirelessly trigger whenever you click the shutter. All you gotta do is just take this tiny little cube, put it on the hot shoe of your camera. This works for film and digital. Screw it down. And also when you buy the flash cube, you have one transmitter and two receivers, two of these little cubes as well. You put one of these on your flash right here, screw it on. So these little cubes are battery powered and you can charge them via micro USB. But once you're set up, now you have this like whole independent flash that you could do off camera so that your setup is minimal over here. It's less distracting for the people on the streets. And you could have this be at any angle. And once you're ready, go ahead, pop that flash, and you're good to go. I will do more review on this, but I've been really enjoying this setup because what my old setup used to look like. My old setup used to look like this, where I had this flash sync cord cable and had to attach it to the flash, of course, and then onto the hot shoe. And it was all like cumbersome and stuff. I would like have to put it around my neck so that the cord wouldn't get in the way of my viewfinder. Of course, like this is like fine, but what happens if I don't want to use the flash? Then I gotta turn off, and then like, what do I do with this cord? I have to leave this flash hanging around my neck, and it's just all cumbersome. It feels uncomfortable because it's like dragging my head down. And then sometimes, like if I forget to put it around my neck because of some kind of, I don't know, fast-paced situation, I would have to do this, and then the cord gets in my way, gets in the way of me focusing. It's a mess. So having that wireless flash cube sync cube is a game changer. This video isn't sponsored by them, but I highly recommend buying it if you want to incorporate using flash in your street photography. The next thing that I use is a GoPro actually, and you've probably seen these POV street photography videos. I have a few on my channel as well, but one thing that I've picked up somewhat recently is a magnetic mount for this GoPro Hero 8 or any GoPro. It works for with any of them. So like I said, this thing is magnetic and it's a two-piece setup. So you have this little magnetic necklace. Go ahead and throw that on, and then you could throw it under your t-shirt, under your hoodie. I used it through a super thick wool jacket, so the magnets are very strong. They don't recommend using this magnetic mount if you have like a pacemaker inside you or any metal parts inside your body or around your rib cage, so highly recommend not doing that, and so does the maker of this thing. It's called the snap mount. So once you situate that magnet wherever you want, you just snap it on, and now it just stays there. So minimal, so inconspicuous. If you throw in a black t-shirt, it's hardly noticeable. And it's a very strong magnet. Like, I'm just like wiggling around my shirt right now. This is so violent. I don't know why you would ever do that when you're out there on the streets. And you could totally move this thing around based on where you place the magnet behind your article of clothing. And for me, I'm a right eye dominant rangefinder user. So when I bring the camera up to my face, my forearm really does block the camera if I center the camera on my chest. So what I do is take the magnet off just like that, very easy. I move the necklace right over my right pec, maybe like right here, and then magnetize. And now when I bring the camera up, the GoPro is not obstructed. So that's how I film my POV videos, and I highly recommend getting a GoPro so that not only can you film yourself, but you film your experience as well. And the last piece of equipment that I always carry with me is my iPhone 12 Pro Max. It's great for video, for recording different scenes, providing context for my videos. And also it's great for recording yourself as well. 4K looks beautiful on this camera. You can shoot it in 24 frames per second. You can shoot it in 30 frames per second if you're into that. Smartphones are just so good at what they do now in terms of photo and video. I could also wirelessly transfer my RAW files from my Leica M10D over to my phone for a really quick edit. I don't typically do that because I just rather come home or go back to my hotel and edit. But if you're into that, that is an option. And I believe most cameras can wirelessly transfer files now, so having your phone on you would be great. If you have an iPad Air, that'll be super cool if you want to carry a little bag to have that with you. So yeah, that's it. That is my minimal camera setup. That's only really 3 things that I carry. It's awesome. I could fit it in my jacket pockets, in my hoodie pocket, or my pants. And having a smaller setup like that makes me very nimble. There's nothing to weigh me down, nothing tugging on me. It reduces the fatigue. Plus, you know, it's just nice to carry less. But I'm gonna be completely honest, I am not a minimalist when it comes to most of my cameras. When I'm on professional shoots, I carry a lot of stuff. And in that next video, you will see how much of a camera whore I can be.